what we've been through. I miss you, and you can't lie, you miss me too. If I roll through, but you...
Well. Today's video is going to be one for the books as well. This video intertwines with my last video talking about Aaliyah's Red album and the actual meaning behind it. So if you haven't watched that video, definitely watch it and then come back to this video. But before we get into today's video, I don't know if I told you guys what the video is about, but make sure to like, comment, and subscribe first. Turn on your bell post notifications so that you'll be notified every time I drop a video. Let's get into today's somewhat exciting video. Like I said, this intertwines with the video I did about Aaliyah's Red album, and this video is just gonna be about Beyonce's album, her Blue album, her first album, her first solo album. I found some incredible things. It's just very shocking. It's been here the whole time and I just cannot believe that I'm just not finding this out. But in my last video, I was talking about how Aaliyah's Red album had most certainly significance to it, and those significance had a positive side and a negative side. So the positive side was courage, drive, energy, determination, action, love, confidence, and strength. Those were the positives of a Red album. The negatives, and yeah, I finally got a clipboard. I just went to go get this right now, and now we can be professional. The negative side of a Red album is danger, lust, violence, angry, dominance, alert, rage, and stress. This got me curious because I'm just like, wait, well, since everybody, including myself, not everybody, but a few people, including myself, think that Beyonce and Aaliyah were neck and neck in the industry back then, I looked up Beyonce's first album and if it had a significant color behind it, and lo and behold, it did. For Beyonce's self-titled album cover background color, it was blue. And I looked up blue, and the significance behind a blue album is tranquility, authority, wisdom, stability, cleanliness, freshness, and freedom. Now, tranquility means free from disturbance. Authority is giving orders, make decisions, enforce obedience, having power and control. Wisdom means experience, knowledge, good judgment, and being wise. Stability means quality, state, or degree of being stable. Cleanliness is state or quality of being clean or being kept clean. Freshness, state of being recently made or obtained or not having decayed. Freedom is power or right to act, speak, or think as one wants without hindrance or restraint. The 15 songs on this album are all servant to Jay-Z. And not only is it a servant to Jay-Z, Jay-Z is also featured on some of these songs. Young Beyonce was selfless and self-sacrificing. Before we keep getting into the deepness of what a blue album means, I will go over all of the words that describe a blue album and what I think they all mean. But as of right now, I'm just gonna run through the information to get it over with, and then we'll come back. The 15 songs on her album are Crazy in Love, Naughty Girl, That's How You Like It, Baby Boy, Hip Hop Star, Be With You, Me, Myself, and I, Yes, Signs, Speechless, The Closer I Get to You, Dangerously in Love 2, Beyonce Interlude, Gift from Virgo, and Daddy. Those are all the songs on her album. So for her interlude, which is basically like the opening for the album is what I'm getting from it, or what I believe it is, she just started off by saying how she believed that harmonies were colors. And I took a liking to this particular lyric because we've been talking about colors and what they mean, especially when it comes to artists and their albums, and especially a self-titled album which describes them in their personal life. So it really has significant meaning, and it's funny how she mentioned something about colors. Now, color harmony, I looked it up, and this is what I got. Analogous, which means comparable in certain respects, makes clearer the nature of things compared. Complementary, which means combining in such a way as to enhance or emphasize the qualities of each other or another. Just by me reading this, if you're not catching on to what this has to do with Beyonce and her album and the situation with Beyonce, Jay-Z, and Aaliyah, I don't know. Another word that has something to do with color harmonizing was a group or a set of three connected people or things. And it also meant a secret society in China. Now we're just gonna read this because I don't know if it has any significance to China, but I just thought that it should be included. So it said a secret society in China typically involved in organized crimes. Monochromatic is containing or using only one color, which Beyonce did in her album. She only used the solid color of blue. Aaliyah used the solid color of red, and they both have their different meanings. Tetrad, which means a group. Another word was split complementary, which is a color scheme using one basic color. And last but not least, the last word for color harmony was square. And square just means multiply by itself. Let's take it back and let's give our commentary on how we feel and what this album signifies and what it is about. Remember, I said her album was the color blue, which does mean something. The color for her album, like I said, is free from disturbance. Now, what I'm getting from that is that she was finally free from the disturbance of Aaliyah. It really makes sense. And this is her first album after Aaliyah, Beyonce went solo and Aaliyah was no longer in the way. Authority, which is giving orders, which I feel like she finally had a gateway in to Jay-Z. She decided to allow him to give orders. She decided to let him make decisions. She decided to enforce obedience, which basically is to obey him and having power. Together, Beyonce and Jay-Z became power, and they're still power and in control. Jay-Z is in control of Beyonce. This is real stuff, really. Like, it's not just an album, it's real. And the beef between Aaliyah and Beyonce were indeed real. Not made up by anybody like me or even the tabloids. These songs have deep meanings to them. These albums have deep meanings behind them. Moving on, wisdom, which means experience. Jay-Z had a lot of experience, which is why he made it to where he wanted to be. He is very smart. He has a lot of knowledge. Now, I say this all the time, I respect him for being a smart businessman because I believe everything he did is what got him where he is. All because of him. Nobody else. No help. Good judgment. He was a very good judge of things, which opened many doors for not only him, but his wife, Beyonce. And being wise. He's very wise. Like I said, he's a smart businessman. Jay-Z is very talented, and he knew what he wanted to become. He had it on his shirt, and he became exactly that. Stability, which means quality, and quality just stands for the standard of something as measured against other things Aaliyah of a similar kind. The degree of excellence of something, a distinctive attribute of characteristics possessed by someone or something. And distinctive just means serving to distinguish from others. She wanted what Aaliyah had, and she was gonna have put on those characteristics to become everything Aaliyah was. That's basically what that means. So quality, state, or degree of being stable. Jay-Z was gonna make sure she was stable, and she knew that she would be stable getting with him, which had happened. And in state of mind too, she would be stable. Before she was with Jay-Z, she just was always very curious. You know, he had his attention panned on Aaliyah, and Beyonce just couldn't focus. She wanted him. She wanted to climb to the top with him, but he did not have his attention on her. He was messing around with her first, but he did not want Beyonce. You know, after Aaliyah was gone and she had met up with Jay-Z again, her mind was stable. Cleanliness, state or quality of being clean or being kept clean. He was going to keep her up to par and keep everything in order in all aspects. Freshness, state of being recently made. This was Beyonce's first solo album. She was being made into that artist Aaliyah was. She was just being made by Jay-Z. Jay-Z was already, you know, out there doing his music. He had seen a thing or two in Hollywood. He was very smart. But he was making Beyonce, or obtain or not having decayed. If he wouldn't have chose her, she just would have rotted out like all the other artists that failed. Just, you know, decayed. Basically what it is saying. Freedom. Power. As long as she got with Jay-Z, she would have power. But without him, she would have always been under. And Beyonce also has pride. She cares about herself and her reputation. And if she did not climb to the top or be to the top, it was gonna depress her and make her lose her mind. But she became free when Aaliyah was gone. And she finally had got one of the industry's most smartest, wisest, and intelligent men. He gave her power. The right to act. She could act out. She was Beyonce. She had the hottest man, the smartest man, and he had a master plan. And it was her time to act out and be that diva. Speak. In this album, she's speaking on everything. She can finally speak her frustrations, her obsession that she had over this man, and this animosity towards Aaliyah blocking Beyonce's success. And not just her success, her solo success. Aaliyah was keeping Beyonce behind the letter A, or think as one wants without hindrance or restraint. And hindrance just means a thing that provides resistance, delay, or obstruction to someone. Aaliyah was delaying Beyonce's solo career. She had Beyonce resisting to even take a chance. It says, or obstruction to someone. Obstruction means blocking a passage for someone, right? And we all say that Aaliyah was number one, which she was, and Beyonce knew that. Restraint means keep someone under control or within the limits. Because Aaliyah was out, she kept Beyonce in her place. She kept Beyonce with Destiny's Child. And with Aaliyah here, Beyonce could not succeed. Without Aaliyah here, Beyonce could prosper. And she sure did do that. Beyonce had her own plans. She already knew she wanted to leave Destiny's Child. She already felt that they could not sing and they were just holding her back as well. That's why it wasn't hard for her to leave them behind. That was her motive, to become solo and climb. And she seen that Jay-Z was doing the same thing. And she was craving that relationship, that man, even at a young age, without hindrance and restraint. Now, those are the words, or what I feel those words within a Blue album means when describing Beyonce's situation towards Aaliyah and towards Jay-Z, and just expressing what she was going through in that time. And we all know, or we should know, if you're into things like this, that self-titled albums, they talk about your personal life. And as much as they might say those songs don't reflect them or has nothing to do with them, it does. And they're not going to tell you bluntly, because the point is for it to be a message, for it to be subliminals, and just something that you have to figure out. This Blue album definitely describes what type of person Beyonce was. She was very jealous, envious, and she was thirsty to not only have a solo career, to surpass Aaliyah, but to have the man that did not even want her and wanted her up. Beyonce's album in general, to pretty much sum it up, describes characteristics, qualities, and events from 2001 and down. I did not get what characteristics means, but I'll put all the definitions down here or somewhere on the screen so that you guys can have a clear understanding of what these words actually mean and why these particular words are being used to explain her album or their albums, their characters, their qualities, and events in their lives. Her album speaks about her being free from disturbance, like I said, which was Aaliyah. It talks about her obeying by, or as by force, she did not care. She was willing to get with Jay-Z, even if she had to be forced to obey. And we talked about how Aaliyah did not want to obey and bow down to a man. She was very independent. She was more than a woman, and she wasn't going to put up with that. Aaliyah's album talks about that. Beyonce's album talks about being basically a servant to him and not caring and being willing to make herself look foolish and be actually crazy enough to set herself so low for this man. And also, last but not least, it talks about her obsession about this man, Jay-Z. This is more than enough evidence and proof for us theorists to say that it is 100% true that Jay-Z did this to Aaliyah. And like I always said, Beyonce most certainly knew. She craved what Aaliyah had, and it was jealous and envy. If you guys go out and look up this stuff on your own, you'll get everything you're looking for. The similarities between the two albums are these ladies went for solid colors that represented their situations. In the end, Aaliyah won because she didn't settle for less. Beyonce did. Beyonce lost. And that's why a lot of her songs are resentful. They are songs of a frustrated, irritated, unhappy woman who is in a relationship where she's not cherished, she gets cheated on, and she's number two. She will always be number two. As bad as y'all don't want to believe it, it's right here. I literally just broke this down for you, piece by piece. There's really no way around it. Jay-Z gathered a bunch of hooligans who probably had tension against Aaliyah, which a lot of her friends had tension. They weren't talking to go against her. And he probably promised them something in return dealing with the industry. But Jay-Z, he's very smart. He's a liar. He left everybody behind, including his best friend. It was getting with a particular woman to climb to the top and be successful. And Aaliyah had the industry in her hands. It was either Damon, Life, or Jay-Z, a puppet. And if she declined this one, Jay-Z, it was sacrifice. And she decided to sacrifice herself. Because if you look at it as well, Jay-Z wouldn't have been able to climb. It would have been Damon and Aaliyah as Jay-Z and Beyoncé. And Jay-Z and Beyoncé would have just been at the bottom. But the only reason why she probably didn't choose him, which I understand 100%, is because he wanted more. He wanted to be a dominant person in the relationship. He wanted to control. He's definitely a control freak, a possessive guy, angry, and I cannot wait to get into Beyonce's album. We're going to be speaking about a lot of her songs, but to throw you a little sneak peek, in one of Beyonce's songs on her solo album, or her self-titled album, first album, Jay-Z said something about himself being a very angry guy and that he is cut from a different cloth. Deep, right? I could rant on and on about this because I think I figured it out. I wasn't gonna stop. I finally understand why Aaliyah had to go, or why they took her way before she was supposed to go. Because it wasn't God. God would never do that to an angel. He put her on this planet for a reason, but there are some demons walking around who will try to stop you. And I just feel for her every day. But I try not to listen to much of their music anymore because I know what they did. And it's very disgusting. Shout out to Jaguar Wright. I give her all my blessings. She knew what she was talking about. And I doubted her in the beginning, but I no longer doubt her. She is not crazy. No one's crazy who speaks out. Shout out to Jaguar Wright. She said it. She called it, and she did not care. She put her life on the line to give us this information. But anyways, that pretty much wraps it up for this video. You guys let me know what you think of Beyonce's Dangerously in Love album, her self-titled album, her Blue album, and her first ever solo album after Aaliyah's team. Do you think this is true? I hope 95% of you agree with me, because this is the truth. And Aaliyah was taken out by Jay-Z. Jay-Z was the leader of her. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in my next video. Stay crazy.
Do you remember that one night when we fell in love? What we had felt so right, 'cause we had trust. Now it's drowning in our lives. I know we're broken up. You know the feelings deep inside. So what's you? What we've been through.